Real Conversations with Johnnie Finch. Just a couple of brief thoughts on the Joe Biden interview with Charlamagne the God. I think number one, it was 18 minutes. If I'm Joe Biden's team, I definitely want to go back and do a longer interview. Number one, just because there was a little blunder at the end that we'll talk about. But number two, those shows do 1 million viewers easy. And you definitely want to get your voice out to these young black voters, because I don't think personally that they're as attached as the older voters would be, that they've known, the older voters being that they've known Joe Biden for a very, very long time. And if they are a supporter of him, whereas the younger voters probably don't know much about him besides the fact that he was the vice president at one time. And as the vice presidents aren't really that visible. Two, I thought it was a decent interview for, like I said, for 18 minutes. The issues that I have sometimes is, while Charlamagne was definitely trying to solicit from Joe Biden what would be the benefit to African American voters to vote for him, he immediately started talking about the criminal justice system, the broken criminal justice system, which is a major deal. Obviously, I work in the criminal justice system, but it's not always the most relevant to speak to everybody all the time. There are a lot of black voters who are very, very concerned about insurance and healthcare and what's going on with that. So, I mean, the talking point of the unjust criminal justice system as it relates to the African American community is big, but that shouldn't be the only soundbite that we always hear when we talk about the benefit to the African American community, especially in my own head. If I'm listening to it and I'm just detached from that community, maybe I've never been in trouble, maybe none of my family has been in trouble, or they just don't care about it, right? It's okay to say, hey, I don't care about the criminal justice system. And so thinking about some of the more relevant issues to both classes of black people, I think is big. And again, I understand the crime bill, but sometimes I want to hear something else. I understand the criminal justice system. I just want to hear something else. How else is this going to be beneficial to us? Number three, like I said, he did a great. I mean, it was a good interview. Like I said, a little short. The third thing was, right when the interview was over, Joe Biden said he had to go. Charlamagne said, hey man, this is a short interview. You can't keep doing this to black media. Not in an offensive way, but just let them know, hey man, we want this information from you. And then Joe Biden said, I'm sorry, I gotta leave. Charlamagne rebutted, hey, we're just trying to figure out what's the, where the benefit is. And then in jest, but kind of serious too, Joe Biden said, look at my record, who you're going to vote for, me or Trump. And basically, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. And obviously that was right when the video was going off. Terrible timing to make a statement like that, especially after he had boasted most of the interview about how blacks always support him. And man, I mean, if you look at the numbers, he really, really blew out the water for the Southern black vote. I mean, overwhelming support from those voters. And so for him to say, hey, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. He only has these voters to lose for whatever particular reason. I always talk about, people, and even black people do it too at times. They think that all black people think the same, or they're in the same class, but it's right now. I mean, I think there's so many different classes of what we call black people. There's the older people who are maybe more prone to go ahead and embrace Joe Biden. Then there's my age, where I didn't really even know who he was until he was the VP for President Obama. Then there's the people who are 20 years old. They're voting for the first time, so maybe they're very, very detached from him, and they really are looking for the information or someone to like. To be transparent, when I voted in the primary, I specifically didn't vote for Joe Biden because I felt like he was old to vote, because he was with President Obama, and I'm sure he did right by President Obama, but that wasn't enough to push me over the edge and to be excited about it. I think that we're very, very smart voters for the most part, and so we kind of, resent those issues. So maybe it wasn't so much that I voted, and people say that people will vote for a person and people will vote against a person. Maybe during the primary, I was actually voting against, but I voting against Joe Biden as opposed to voting for him because I was for what he stood for. But he didn't really say much during the primary either, and I thought that Bernie Sanders was the more polarizing figure for young voters. And I bet if we go back and look, we can see that. So bad timing more than anything else to make that statement, because there may be some people on the fence. There may be a lot of people on the fence, and you don't want to give votes away, especially when there's a lot of energy for the Black conservative movement. And we've had Black conservatives forever, but people were waiting to pounce on that moment when he made that statement saying, see guys, you see what we've been saying? He thinks he's entitled to the vote. And at that particular point in time, if somebody was on the fence, yeah, they may say, well, you know what? I didn't like that statement. I didn't feel that. I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't feeling that from Joe Biden. And so maybe they're likely to go and look for another option rather than him when November rolls around, or maybe they don't vote at all, or maybe they vote for a third party because maybe they don't want to vote for Donald Trump either. So bad timing, I think, more than anything else over the next couple of weeks. I don't want to get too much into his words. Because people say things all the time, bad timing. But over the next month or so, I think his team should take a concerted effort to speak more to the benefit to the Black community for voting for Joe Biden. Not so much in the criminal justice realm, but more things like insurance that we're definitely concerned about. Going into next year, obviously we're coming out of coronavirus. What are we going to do with the economy is big as well. So like I said before, check out the interview. It was about 18 minutes long. If you guys like this type of content, let me know. I'll come back and I'll do it again. If not, I won't. I'll just keep on with the interviews. But I appreciate you guys either way. Like, share, and subscribe. Real Conversations. I'm out.